Okay, so I'm gonna show you how I mounted these LED lights in this back portion of the roof rack on the GMT 800 Suburban Z71. You can see my power in wires there, and you can see two mounting screws for the plastic here and down there. The wire to feed the passenger side routes through, the driver's side. It feeds through this passenger side. You can see a little chip there, just kind of ugly. Feeds through the flat bar here, and then through this side and in. And I already did this once, but as you can see, it got ripped off, so I'm doing a new one. So that's why I'm making a video. So ideally I would have drilled this through instead of cut it through, but I didn't. So the circle in the back here is basically 3-inch diameter. So my lights are 3-inch diameter. And in my case, for mounting them, these lights have a cast mount at the bottom. So I just drilled into that and put my rivets through that. So to drill the hole here, some people use a Dremel or whatnot. I have a 3-inch hole saw that I had laying around. So that's what's going to cut it. And I learned from the last time, don't run it in forward, run it in reverse. If you go in forward, it's going to skip all over the place and just be a painful experience. If you run it in reverse, it'll cut plastic, but it doesn't give you rough edges or a wobbly effect. So to find center, what I'm going to do is back this drill bit out, set the saw into this spot, and use this hole saw's shaft to guide the drill bit to center. Spin the bit a little bit, that'll get me my center hole. Then I'll refasten the bit in to the hole saw so that the bit guides us for center. So you can see I've got the bit loosened up. This stop here is going to be backed off, and the drill bit will be able to guide in and out of this hole saw. Sorry, I'm trying to have one hand on the phone and do the work here. So one of the toughest things is holding this plastic because it's all curves. And there's no great way to hold it, so I'm just putting it in the vise. I might scuff it a little. Probably should have put a rag in place. So again, I'm going to set the hole saw how it looks centered, and then I'm going to run just the drill bit, not the hole saw, to mark that center point. So I had to do it off camera because I needed too many hands, but I have my centered hole. So now I'm going to guide my bit in there, and again, run this in reverse. I need to re-chuck this. Well, I had to use 2 hands for this, so here it is from running in reverse. Again, you can see a little imperfection, but it'll go away when the light's in. So in my case, the light has that mount cast into the housing, and I can't go straight up and down. It'd interfere with the roof, right? Or the rest of the roof rack. So I have to spin it off to the side, and then I'm gonna drill my holes and rivet into that housing. Okay, so I figured out where the light needed to be, and I could tell where my housing was. So I drilled through the plastic and then just enough to mark the housing, right? And then moved that over to the bench and finished drilling that. Now I'm going to pin that into place with a rivet, not riveted, just pinned, so that I can align the next hole. So here's the rivet just set into place to act as a pin. Now I'm going to figure out where I want that next hole and at least get it through the plastic and enough to mark that housing. So you can see I've got the housing marked now. Second hole is in, and now I'm going to finish drilling through that housing so that I can rivet. So here it is riveted in. I use the rivet washers just to give a little more chance for that plastic to hold up. And then I've been debating, do I use some sort of silicone or do I 3D print a trim ring, something to support this side a little more. Where it goes on the truck, it doesn't require a ton of support, but as always, if you can beef it up a little bit, it should last longer. For now, I'm just going to mount it how it is and probably figure out a trim ring later. Alright, so I have the wires crimped into the feed here. Give you guys a little more of a look of what's under that plastic cover. So to get at it, again, it's the two small screws. The head on those, I believe it's a 3mm Allen. And once you have the cover off, and it doesn't come off real easy, but they're pretty robust. I started at the front and lifted. Inside you'll see two 10mm, and you wanna, if you're running the wire, to me it was easier to do it off the vehicle. So I pulled those bolts on both sides, took this entire crossbar inside and ran the wires. Again, if I were doing it again, I would drill a hole through here instead of just cutting plastic. And then I had to remove some plastic down here for my light to fit because of its housing and the way it's tilted. There was also a mount here, and I just got it out of the way. I guess GM probably had some light in mind that would have mounted up perfectly, but I have no idea if that exists. So now I'm going to set this back in place, get all my wires tucked in nicely, and then put the two screws back in. So there it is, and of course the screw up front and the screw in the back. Now when it comes to wiring, after I exited this side, the reason I went to the right is because inside you have the boot for getting the wires through. Not a real fun job, but you peel that boot back and you can push the wires through. Getting the boot back on is not fun, but that gets me through to where all I had to do is remove the very top trim piece that just pulls out, and I was able to just flex things enough to route them out for now. What I intend to do is pop this plastic piece. You take this out, it threads out, then you can remove this whole side plastic. I think I'm just going to tie into the wiring for this power adapter. And I believe that'll give me switched 12 volt. In line with that, for about 15 bucks on Amazon, you can get a wireless remote kit that you just you wire it in line, and it comes with two remotes so you can turn it on and off. I'll try and get a picture of that or a video showing that at the end here.